Bonjour, Kinamagi and Nene Ireland Indigenicas, and welcome to this morning's presentation of Social Studies Explorer. This morning's episode, The American Revolution, Advantages and Disadvantages, Part 2. We're going to begin with an overview of our disadvantages. I know we've done a little bit of consideration this in a previous lesson. The British were used to fighting in a formal way in a straight line. They literally would go line up across the battlefield. That's not always good when people are shooting at you. They had problems adjusting to new methods of fighting, like winter battles. There is no central city or capital to attack. Kind of like the old game of capture the flag. Usually if you did that in a capital city, you won. It's not a thing in this war. Fighting over a large area, they did not know. They were unfamiliar with swamps and forests. They often underestimated the Continental soldiers. They may have had a little bit of an ego problem. And the distance of over 3,000 miles across the Atlantic caused transportation and communication problems. The Americans had disadvantages like citizen soldiers. This was not a well-trained army like the British. They had inexperienced officers. They weren't very good at what they did in a lot of cases. And even some of our now considered great leaders really were pretty close to failure at points. These untrained soldiers had to be taught everything, including how to put their muskets together, how to stay alive, and how to fight. We definitely did not have enough cannons and other artillery. Supplies were often low, including shoes, clothes, and gunpowder. We had little money. We had to beg the states for money. States often did not send those supplies. We didn't have a navy, henceforth why we needed the French. We had far fewer soldiers in the beginning. Soldiers sometimes went home at harvest time because if your crops die in the field, your family dies. So kind of a problem. And soldiers only enlisted for about a year at a time. So in theory, after 1 year, they could say, you know what? We're done. We're moving on. Advantages. Now the British, they had more money. It's an empire that stretched around the planet. They had an experienced army. Their government had been around for quite a while. They had defeated France and Spain in recent wars, including the French and Indian War that ended in 1763. They had what was largely considered as the best navy in the world, had many more soldiers in the beginning, including 50,000 British soldiers, 30,000 Hessian mercenaries, and 30,000 loyalist troops. Loyalist troops are the troops that were in the colonies. They were colonials, but they were loyal to the British crown and did not join as part of the revolution. American advantages included the fact that we were better wilderness fighters. We were good marksmen who owned their own guns. Very importantly, we're fighting on our own land. You know what's coming, you know the terrain, and you know that you're defending your land. George Washington was a great leader. Well, especially once he surrounded himself with other good generals. And then we had help from other countries, namely France. We probably don't win the war without France. One of the things we're going to be doing today is you're going to have these perspectives, and this will be both either on paper or in a Google form. And it's going to be the American soldier's perspective, 1 and 2, and then a British soldier, 1 and 2. And you're going to write about what was their point of view? Why were they involved? Why did this matter to them? Or why did it not matter to them? Then at the bottom, you're going to have to list 2 advantages and 2 disadvantages for the Americans 2 advantages and 2 disadvantages for the British. Think about military, geography, supplies, money, and leadership. Obviously, we've just talked about several, so you can use those as part of your answer. If you have any questions, please reach out to me or bring them up in class. Hope you have a Minogishigat. Minwa Bamapi.